Coming to you live from Farmer Dave's World Headquarters here in Dracut, Massachusetts, I'm Cassie.
And I'm Stacey.
And we're here to help you
prepare your share. We'll start this VEGISODE with a jam. No. These long, hot summer days mean the fruit is going to start rolling in. What better way to preserve all that luscious fruit than jam? Imagine cracking open a jar of summer in December or January that will tide you over till spring. We're going to address water bath canning of high acid foods like fruit. Water bath canning is a great beginner technique to learn. It's simple, it's not expensive, and it's extremely gratifying. You will look like a rock star giving out gifts of jam to family and friends. No. Come on. The toy has to go away now.
The setup. A water bath canner and rack that fits inside the pot. You can buy this as a kit in stores and online. Glass preserving jars, lids, and bands. These will all come together when you buy new. The glass jars and bands can be reused, provided the jars have no chips or cracks and the bands are not warped or rusted. New lids are always required for each batch of canning.
A ladle, funnel, and non-metallic spatula. This is for getting rid of air bubbles once the jam is in the jar. A pair of hot jar tongs for lifting the jars out of the water. Utensil canning kits are sold with everything together. They're not expensive and you are going to use them repeatedly.
Pectin. There are so many on the market. We have our favorite. In our box of pectin are the directions and tested recipes using this pectin. Whichever brand you use, read the directions thoroughly and assemble all your ingredients. Using one of the suggested recipes with that pectin is the easiest way to start. Ours has some great low sugar recipes, which lets the taste of Farmer Dave's fruit shine through.
The science. This portion is not meant to freak you out, but to educate you on why the process is the way it is. People have been canning and preserving safely for a very long time. Canning is a scientific process just like baking. Follow the steps and you will be successful.
Whenever water bath canning is talked about, you also hear a mention of acid levels. Ingredients with a high acid content are needed for water bath canning. That high acid content is what inhibits the germination of botulism spores into botulism toxin. The spores can only develop when the environment is low acid and oxygen free.
When you water bath can, the jar and contents are heated to their boiling point. This kills off microorganisms that cause spoilage, fermentation, and mold, but it does not kill the spores. Boiling drives the oxygen out of the jars to create that vacuum seal. The acid content is what takes care of the spores. Each step contributes to the whole picture.
Why is bottled lemon or lime juice or citric acid powder used in some recipes? Why not just a lemon? The bottle varieties are tested to a consistent acid level. That is important in this case. Mother Nature can vary.
Now the fruit. Overripe fruit is perfect for jam. Visible mold is not. This is a line that you do not want to cross. If your fruit is overripe and you are not ready to make the jam, pop them in a freezer bag, stow it in the freezer until you're ready. It'll be waiting.
Just because you need to follow a specific tested recipe doesn't mean you can't be creative. Add the seeds of a vanilla bean. Add spices like cinnamon and coriander, minced some chili or ginger.
You can play with flavor. You'll not be adding enough of these individual ingredients to affect the acidity of the mixture.
Now for canning instructions.
Prep, prep, prep.
We are following the low sugar canning recipe included in our package of pectin.
Read through the instructions included in the container completely. Lay out all your equipment and ingredients and inspect your jars, lids, and bands, even the new ones.
Wash the bands, lids, and jars in hot soapy water, even the new ones. Rinse and dry thoroughly. We have already done this.
Fill your canner up about halfway. Place your jars in the canner while the water is coming to a boil. Yes, even your new jars. Lids and rings can be left at room temperature.
Our recipe calls for calcium water, which is included in our pectin kit. So we're going to mix the calcium water with the berries. Get that nicely mixed. Then Stacey, would you like to mix together the pectin and the sugar?
So the pectin is going to get sprinkled into the amount of sugar. Then I'm going to use the spatula. And you just want to make sure that the pectin is mixed evenly with the sugar.
Now I'm going to be putting these strawberries and the calcium water mixture into the pot. We're going to be bringing that up to a boil. Once it's up to a boil, that's when we will be adding the pectin and the sugar mixture, stirring it in until it's completely blended.
I have a landing strip set up right next to the stove. Remove the jars when the jam is about ready with the tongs and empty the water out of them. Cassie, would you grab the jam? I think it is ready.
Oh, it is. It is. Hot stuff.
Oh, that's very hot stuff. Okay. So at this point, this has a lot of sugar in it, and it's going to be very painful if you splash yourself, so please take care at this point.
Super careful. So you're going to use the funnel, ladle the jam into the jars, leaving the suggested headspace per the recipe you're using. Ours is about 1/4 inch. You're going to use the plastic spatula when it's full to push it down.
All right. Now I'm going to start ladling. You're better off using a small amount at a time rather than overfilling and making a mess. Move your hand. Keep it down. There you go. I don't want to burn you.
No problem. Safety first.
Here we go. And this is a good example. You can always wipe up the jam, people. Don't burn your hand with this. It was just boiling.
I think that's going to do it for this guy.
Yep. Okay, so here is your example. Oh, maybe just a little bit more.
All right. Perfect.
There you go.
All right, now you're going to want to center the lid on the jar and screw on the band until it's fingertip tight. Just fingertip tight. You don't want to be really cranking on there. You don't have to do that.
Would you grab that and spin that on?
Yep. Be careful of the jar. It is still hot, just a little. We let our jars cool a little bit when we took them out of the boiling water, but the jam heats that sucker right back up.
Okay, rather than having you listen to us while we fill all these jars, we're going to do this very quickly. We'll be right back with you. Now we're going to lower the jars into the canner either by using the rack or tongs. Make sure the water level is 1 to 2 inches above the jars. Place the lid on and you're going to bring the canner to a full boil. Once this happens, you begin timing according to your recipe. Our recipe is 10 minutes. Cassie, let me get the top for you.
Thank you. Rearrange this guy a little bit.
There we go. Perfect.
All right.
And the top goes on.
Perfect. When the cook time is reached, take the cover off and carefully remove the jars. You really want to use the tongs for this one and don't pull the rack out. It's not as safe because it is all very hot. You're going to set all these upright in an area where they will not be disturbed for 12 to 24 hours.
Once they're cool, you're going to check your seals. The lids will not flex or pop when you press on them. If they do, you can always reprocess it, which means you put it back in the boiling water for the allotted amount of time, just like you started in the recipe, or put it in the refrigerator and just enjoy it for yourselves. Now you're also going to label and date. That way you know when you made them and what's in the jar. Cranberry and strawberry kind of looks the same. Store in a cool place and up to 1 year.
No. And that's a wrap.